The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead, casting jagged shadows across the empty locker room floor. I slammed my locker shut, heart pounding from the game we just crushed, when I heard it, a soft, ragged sob echoing from the showers. Pushing through the steam, I froze. There was Justin, my stepbrother, curled against the tiled wall, naked and trembling, tears mixing with the water cascading over his bruised body, whispering my name like a curse. That moment shattered everything. I'd always seen him as the fragile artist in our fractured family, the one Mom married into when she wed Dad 5 years ago. But now, with his eyes locking onto mine, raw, pleading, broken, I realized the secret he'd buried deeper than I ever imagined. He was in love with me, and God help me, in that instant, something inside me cracked open too. The rain hammered the roof of Lincoln High like it was trying to drown the whole damn town. It was Friday night in Elmwood, Illinois, that sleepy suburb outside Chicago where everyone knew your business but pretended they didn't. We'd won the homecoming game against Riverton, 34-17, with me, Connor Hayes, throwing the winning touchdown to Jake in the final quarter. The crowd had roared, the cheerleaders had swarmed, and for a split second, I felt invincible. But as the team filed into the locker room, high-fiving and stripping off gear, that high faded fast. Dad was waiting at home with his usual proud but you could do better grunt, and Mom would be buried in her nursing shifts, leaving the house echoing with silence. And Justin, well, Justin was always there, a quiet shadow in the chaos. I toweled off my hair, the coarse fabric scraping against my scalp, and glanced at the clock. 10:47 p.m. Most guys had bolted for parties or girlfriends, but I'd lingered, nursing a twisted ankle from that last tackle. The sobs hit me again as I zipped my duffel. Faint at first, like a distant siren, then sharper, pulling me toward the showers. Steam billowed out like smoke from a crash site, and I pushed the door open, the humid air slapping my face. Justin was there, under the spray, his back to me at first. He was 18, a senior like me, but worlds apart. While I bulked up on the field, he sculpted his frame in the art room, all lean lines and quiet intensity. His dark curls plastered to his neck, water tracing paths down his pale skin marked with fresh bruises, faded yellows from some asshole at school who'd called him fairy last week and shoved him into the bleachers. I knew about that. Hell, I'd broken the kid's nose for it in the parking lot after. Family, right? Step or not. But then he turned, just a fraction, and whispered it, "Connor, please." His voice cracked, green eyes, those damn eyes that always seemed to see too much, meeting mine over his shoulder. The towel around his waist slipped, pooling at his feet, and time stuttered. He didn't cover up, didn't scramble. He just stood there, exposed, chest heaving, tears carving clean streaks through the rivulets on his cheeks. "What the fuck, Jus?" The words tumbled out harsher than I meant, my own towel forgotten as I stepped closer, the tile cold under my bare feet. Part of me wanted to bolt, to pretend this was some nightmare from too many post-game beers. But another part, the one that had noticed how he'd linger in the kitchen mornings, sketching me over his cereal bowl, or how his laugh lit up when I teased him about his indie playlists, rooted me in place. He slid down the wall, knees buckling, the water pounding his shoulders like judgment. I can't do this anymore. Not with you pretending." His hands fisted in his hair, pulling hard enough to hurt. "Every day, watching you with those girls, laughing like I'm just your weird little brother. But I'm not. I love you, Connor. I've loved you since the day Dad brought you into our house with that stupid Packers jersey and your crooked smile. And it fucking kills me." The steam choked me, or maybe it was the lump in my throat. Love? From him? I dated Sarah last year, then Mia, straight as an arrow, or so I thought. Girls threw themselves at the quarterback. It was easy, uncomplicated. Justin was everything else. The one who'd patch my scrapes with that steady artist's touch, who'd blast the National on road trips to Chicago, singing off-key to make me crack up. We'd shared a room until last summer, bunk beds turning into late-night confessions about Dad's drinking or Mom's endless worry. But love? That word hung between us like a live wire. I dropped to my knees beside him, water soaking my shorts, and grabbed his wrists, gentle but firm. Hey, stop. You're gonna hurt yourself. His pulse raced under my thumbs, wild as a cornered animal. Up close, he smelled like that cheap eucalyptus soap and something deeper, uniquely him, ink and rain. This is messed up, man. We're brothers. Steps, yeah. But steps don't make it less real. He cut in, voice raw, eyes searching mine with a desperation that twisted my gut. You think I chose this? Hiding it, lying to everyone, including you? God, Connor, every time you bring some cheerleader home, I hear you two through the wall, and it's like dying a little. But I stay quiet because losing you, that's worse. I pulled him into a hug without thinking, his wet skin slick against my chest, arms wrapping around me like he'd been starving for it. He buried his face in my neck, sobs muffled now, and I held on, the world narrowing to the beat of his heart against mine. Minutes passed, or hours. The shower ran cold eventually, but we didn't move. When he finally pulled back, his gaze dropped to my lips, then lower, and heat flooded me in places it shouldn't. Justin. My voice was gravel. I stood, hauling him up with me, wrapping my towel around his waist like it could fix this. We can't. Not like this. Get dressed. I'll drive us home. The ride back was silent torture, wipers slapping rhythmically against the downpour, Elmwood's sodium lamps blurring into streaks. Justin stared out the passenger window, hoodie pulled low, while I gripped the wheel like it was the only thing keeping me from veering off the road. Home was a split-level ranch on Maple Street, the kind of place where neighbors waved from lawnmowers and kids biked until dusk. Dad's truck was in the drive, early night for him, probably nursing a six-pack in front of the Bears highlights. Mom's shift ended at midnight. She'd crash on the couch later. We slipped in through the garage, shoes squelching, and I flicked on the kitchen light. Justin beelined for the fridge, grabbing 2 Cokes, but his hands shook as he handed me one. I'm sorry, he muttered, popping his open, for dumping that on you. It wasn't fair. I leaned against the counter, popping mine too, the fizz sharp on my tongue. Don't. Just talk to me. For real. How long? He laughed, bitter and short. Forever? Remember that family trip to the dunes? You were 15, I was 14. You stripped down to swim, all cocky and golden in the sun, and I couldn't look away. Thought it was admiration, like wanting to be you. But nah. It was more. He took a swig, eyes distant. Then high school hit, and the whispers started. Fag. Queer. I buried it deep. Drew instead landscapes, portraits, anything but faces. Especially yours. My stomach nodded. I'd been the golden boy. Football star, from king material, the stepson who bridged the gap when Dad married Mom after his divorce. Justin was the wild card, the one who painted murals in his room and blasted Sufjan Stevens while I blasted Metallica. We balanced each other, or so I thought. Why me? The question slipped out, small and scared. His eyes snapped to mine, fierce. Because you're kind, Connor. Under all that bravado, you're the guy who stops for stray dogs and defends the underdogs. You're home. He stepped closer, close enough I could see the flecks of gold in his greens. And yeah, you're hot as hell. But it's not just that. The air thickened, charged like before a lightning strike. I set my Coke down, hand brushing his, and neither pulled away. Our fingers laced, tentative, electric. I don't know what this means, I admitted, voice low. I'm not. I've never. I know. His thumb stroked my knuckle, soft as a promise. We don't have to figure it out tonight. But we did, in a way. Upstairs, in the dim hall light, he paused at his door. Mine was across, a paper-thin wall between. Thank you, he said, rising on toes to press a kiss to my cheek, lingering too long, his breath warm on my skin. For not running. I watched him disappear inside, door clicking shut, and stumbled to my room, collapsing on the bed. The ceiling fan whirred lazy circles, mocking my racing mind. Straight. That's what everyone said. What I said. But as I lay there, replaying the locker room, the vulnerability, the heat, doubt crept in like fog off Lake Michigan. What if I'd been lying to myself too? Saturday dawned gray and unrelenting, the storm lingering like a bad hangover. I woke to the smell of bacon, Dad's half-assed attempt at breakfast, and voices drifting up from the kitchen. Justin's laugh, light and forced, cut through the haze. I threw on sweats and patted down, finding them at the table. Dad hunched over the sports page, Justin sketching idly on a napkin. "Mornin', champ?" Dad grunted, not looking up. "Good throw last night. Bears could use you." "Yeah, thanks." I slid into a chair, pouring coffee, avoiding Justin's eyes. He was in his usual faded Nirvana tee, jeans ripped at the knees, looking every bit the tortured artist. But there was a new softness in his posture, like a weight lifted, even if just a fraction. Mom breezed in then, scrubs still on from her night shift, planting kisses on our heads. "Boys, Justin, that mural for the art fair, it's stunning." "Connor, honey," Sarah called. "Said to tell you she's free tonight if you want to grab shakes." The name hit like a blindside tackle. Sarah. Blonde, bubbly, captain of the volleyball team. We'd hooked up a few times last spring, nothing serious, but easy. Normal. I mumbled a cool, but my eyes flicked to Justin. His pencil stilled, jaw tightening just a hair. The day dragged. Dad dragged me to the hardware store for man time, nailing shelves in the garage while he rambled about his glory days as a welder. Justin holed up in his room, music thumping faintly through the vents. By afternoon, the sky cracked open again, thunder rumbling like distant artillery. I texted Jake about the party at Miller's Pond, but my thumb hovered over delete. Instead, I knocked on Justin's door. "Come in," he called, voice muffled. He was cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by sketch pads, charcoal smudges on his fingers. A half-finished portrait stared up from the page. Me, mid-throw on the field, but softer, eyes alive with something unspoken. "Creepy?" I teased, dropping beside him, knees bumping. "Stalking me now?" He smirked, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Artist's eye. Sue me." He closed the pad, but not before I caught the intimacy in the lines. The way he'd captured the curve of my smile, the sweat on my brow. We sat in silence, rain pattering the window, until I broke it. "About last night. I didn't sleep much." "Me neither." He picked at a thread on his jeans. "Regret it?" "No." The word surprised me, firm. "Scared shitless?" "Yeah." "But no regrets." His hand found mine again, deliberate this time, and I didn't pull away. We talked then, really talked, about the pressure of being the jock, the fear of coming out in a town where gay was still a punchline at bonfires, about how he'd crushed on that theater kid freshman year but never acted, too terrified of rejection. Hours slipped by, the world outside fading to gray. Dinner was tense. Mom sensing the shift, Dad oblivious, shoveling lasagna. After Justin and I escaped to the basement, old Nintendo hooked up for Mario Kart. Laughter bubbled up, easy at first, then laced with glances that lingered. When he won the final race, crowing victory, I tackled him playfully to the carpet. We wrestled, breaths mingling, bodies pressing in ways that blurred lines. "Connor," he gasped, pinned beneath me, eyes dark with want. I froze, heart slamming. Then I kissed him. Not soft, not tentative. A crash of lips, hungry and uncertain, tasting of coke and fear. He kissed back, hands in my hair, pulling me closer. The world tilted, fireworks behind my eyes. Straight? Bullshit. This felt like truth. We broke apart, panting, foreheads touching. "What now?" he whispered. "Now," I said, voice shaky. "We figure it out. Together." But Elmwood had other plans. Monday morning, the rumor mill churned. Someone had seen us leave the locker room together. Late, clothes damp, whispers in the halls. Hayes and his freak brother? Hit like shrapnel. Jake clapped my shoulder in calc, grinning. "Heard you two got cozy post-game. What's the deal, man? Experimenting?" I laughed it off, gut twisting. "Nah, just talking shit." But doubt seeded. What if this ruined everything? My scholarship dreams, Dad's pride, the life I'd built brick by brick. Justin cornered me at lunch, tray trembling. They're talking about us. I know. I pulled him into the empty band room, door shutting with a click. We'll deny it. Say it was nothing. His face crumpled. Nothing? After. Not nothing. I cupped his cheek, thumb brushing his lip. But we can't blow up our lives. Not yet. He nodded, but the light in his eyes dimmed. That week blurred. Stolen moments in the art supply closet. Fingers intertwining under tables. Nights texting until dawn. Romance bloomed fragile. Notes in lockers. Mixtapes swapped like secrets. But conflict simmered. Sarah cornered me after practice. Lips pursed. If you're into guys now, fine. But stringing me along? Dick move. I'm not. It's complicated. Lies tasted bitter. Then betrayal struck swift as a sack. Friday, I found Justin's sketchbook open on the kitchen counter. Me, nude from memory, vulnerable and raw. Dad had seen it. His face when I got home. Thunderous. What the hell is this, Connor? He thrust the book at me, pages fluttering. Your brother's a goddamn pervert. Drawing you like that. It's art, Dad. He's an artist. Bull. This is sick. His eyes bored into mine. You know about him? The way he looks at you. I swallowed hard. Yeah. And you let it happen? Disgust curled his lip. Man up, son. Or I'll ship him back to his mother's. Mom walked in then, weary. Enough, Mike. They're kids. Figuring it out. But the damage was done. Justin overheard from the stairs. Face ashen. That night he packed a bag. I can't stay. Not if it breaks us all. Don't. I grabbed his arm, desperate. Fight with me. He shook his head, tears spilling. I love you too much to destroy you. He left for his aunt's in Chicago, the door clicking like a gunshot. Emptied. I drove the empty roads, rain blurring the lines again. What had I started? What had I lost? The weeks without Justin carved hollows in me I didn't know existed. Elmwood dragged on, a monochrome grind. Practices bleeding into study halls, Friday lights under which I threw passes like they could fill the void. Jake noticed first, slapping my helmet after drills. You're off, bro. What's eating you? Still moping over that artist weirdo. He's not a weirdo, I snapped, sharper than intended. The team exchanged glances, Ricky muttering touchy under his breath. I jogged off the field, cleats pounding turf, the crisp October air biting like accusation. Home was worse. Dad's silences heavier than his hangovers. Mom's worried glances over dinner plates. The basement Nintendo gathered dust. His room stayed shut, a shrine to half-finished canvases and vinyl sleeves. I texted him daily at first. Miss you. Come back. But replies dwindled to emojis, then nothing. Chicago was only an hour north, but it felt like another planet. Skyscrapers and subways versus our cul-de-sac calm. His aunt, Lena, was cool. Divorced, ran a gallery in Wicker Park. But she wasn't us. Wasn't me. November crept in with its skeletal trees and first snow flurries, blanketing Maple Street in deceptive peace. Homecoming aftermath lingered. Sarah iced me out, dating some lacrosse guy from Northside. Rumors morphed into snickers. Queer for his brother, huh? That I ignored until they festered. One night, post-loss to Evanston, my fumble costing us the game. I drowned it at Miller's Pond bonfire. Beer warmed my veins, girls' laughter a distant hum. But my eyes scanned the shadows for a familiar curl. That's when Mia showed up, ex from sophomore year, all red lipstick and tight jeans. Heard about you and Justin, she purred, hand on my thigh by the fire. Kinda hot, in a taboo way. I shoved her off, bile rising. It's not a game. She laughed, tossing her hair. Everything's a game, Connor. Loosen up. I left early, driving too fast on slick roads. Radio blasting Springsteen to drown the roar in my head. Born to run, ironic since I was the one rooted chasing ghosts. The breaking point came mid-November, gray skies pressing low. Dad called me into his den after supper, the room reeking of old Milwaukee and regret. He was in his recliner, gut spilling over the belt, eyes bloodshot. Sit, son. Perched on the couch, wary. What's up? He cracked another can, foam spilling. Your ma's worried. About you. This thing with Justin. He waved vaguely, like swatting a fly. It's poison. Family don't work like that. It's not. I started, but he bulldozed. I married her for you boys. Stability. Not some soap opera bullshit. His voice rose, veins bulging. He's gone now. Good riddance. But you're slipping. Fumbles on the field, holing up like a damn hermit. Snap out of it. Anger flared, hot and unbidden. You think this is easy? Shipping him off like trash? He's family, Dad. More than blood. He leaned forward, face mottled. Blood's what matters. And reputation. You throw that Hail Mary for state scouts are watching. Don't let some faggot fantasy tank it. The word landed like a fist. I stood, chair scraping. Fuck you. Stormed out, door slamming echoes through the house. Mom found me in the garage later, pounding nails into scrap wood until my hands blistered. Honey, she said softly, handing me a beer, hers, non-alcoholic for me. Your father's scared. Of losing you too. He's losing us already. I sank onto a milk crate, head in hands. I love him, Mom. Justin. Not like a brother. Like, more. She sat beside me, arm around my shoulders, her scrubs still carrying hospital antiseptic. I figured. The way you light up around him. A pause. Heavy. Love's messy, Connor. Especially when it's new. But running, that don't fix nothing. Her words stuck. A lifeline in the churn. That night, I dug out my old road atlas, pre-GPS relic from Dad's truck, and traced the route to Chicago. Enough hiding. Time to fight. Saturday morning, I borrowed Mom's Civic, claiming a college visit. The drive north was a blur of cornfields giving way to tollways. WBBM traffic reports crackling on the radio. Chicago hit like a fever dream. Loops, canyons of steel and glass. L trains rattling overhead. The lake a steel blue slash under November pall. Lena's gallery was in Wicker Park, a converted warehouse splashed with murals. Justin's style, raw and vivid. I parked crookedly, heart hammering, and pushed through the door. Bells jingled. Incense and turpentine hung thick. Lena spotted me first. 40s pixie cut. Tattoos snaking her arms. Connor? Well shit. The prodigal stepbro. Yeah, Justin around. She eyed me, arms crossed. Upstairs. But heads up, he's a mess. Your dad's stunt hit hard. Guilt twisted. I know. That's why I'm here. She nodded, jerking her thumb at the spiral stairs. Don't fuck it up more. His studio was a loft airy, windows framing the skyline, canvases leaning like drunken soldiers. He was at an easel, back to me, brush slashing blues and grays, storm-tossed waves, maybe, or heartache-rendered liquid. He wore paint-splattered overalls, curls tied back with a bandana, humming something by Bon Iver. Just. The brush clattered. He turned, eyes widening shock, then wariness. Connor? What the? I crossed the room in 3 strides, pulling him into a hug before he could bolt. He stiffened, then melted, arms wrapping tight, face in my shoulder. Missed you? I murmured into his hair, inhaling paint and him. Missed you more. His voice muffled, thick. We stood like that, city humming below, until he pulled back, searching my face. Why now? Because I can't breathe without you. Simple truth spilling out. I cupped his jaw, thumb tracing his stubble, new, manlier. Dad's an asshole. The team's idiots. But you're my anchor. He laughed, watery. Poetic, QB. But what about? I kissed him, silencing doubts. Slower this time, exploratory. Lips parting, tongues tentative, then bold. He tasted like coffee and salt, hands fisting my hoodie. We stumbled back against the easel, knocking it over. Paint splattering our shoes like abstract confetti. Laughter bubbled between kisses, easing the ache. We talked for hours, sprawled on a threadbare rug amid tubes of acrylic. He showed me his latest, a series on fractured families. One canvas me and him as silhouettes against a burning house. Destruction, but rebirth in the flames. Catharsis, he said, shrugging. Aunt Lena's exhibiting them next month. Proud of you. I meant it, fierce. We shared takeout from a corner Thai spot. Pad CEW greasy and perfect, windows fogging from our warmth. As dusk fell, neon bleeding in, intimacy deepened. Hands wandered. Mine under his shirt, tracing ribs. His on my thigh, igniting sparks. Stay, he whispered, lips on my neck. Try stopping me. The bed was a futon nest, sheets tangled with sketch pads. We undressed slow, reverent. My shirt first, his overalls pooling like shed skin. Bodies pressed, skin to skin, exploration shy at edges but urgent at core. His touch was art. Fingers painting trails down my chest, lips mapping collarbones. I learned him. The hitch in his breath at my ear, the way he arched under my mouth on his hip. It was messy, real, no porn script perfection, just us, fumbling into rhythm. Climax hit like waves crashing, leaving us wrecked, entwined, breaths sinking. After, in the quiet, he traced my tattoos. A tribal band from junior year, dumb impulse. Beautiful, he murmured. You're biased. Artist's eye. His smile ghosted mine. Love you. Love you too. First time saying it aloud. Settled, warm. But dawn brought reality. I had to go back. Game Monday, Scouts Tuesday. We'll make it work, I promised, dressing. Weekends here. Or you come home. He nodded, but fear shadowed his eyes. Be careful. Elmwood eats its young. The drive south was lighter, Springsteen on loop, but unease gnawed. Dad's truck in the drive when I pulled up early again. Inside, he was at the table, face grim, a letter in hand. College deferral? I snatched it, heart sinking. What the fuck, Dad? You ain't focused. He stood, looming. Flunking trig, skipping lifts. This Chicago jaunt? Don't think I don't know. It's Justin. I'm seeing him. Silence, electric. Then, over my dead body. Mom intervened from the doorway. Mike, stop. They're in love. Love. He barked a laugh. That's lust. Sin. And it'll ruin him. The fight exploded. Shouts echoing, plates rattling. I grabbed my keys. Then I'm out too. Slammed to the car, tires screeching toward the highway. Text to Justin. Coming back. For good. Chicago lights welcomed me like old friends. But betrayal waited. At a red light in Lincoln Park, phone buzzed. Jake. Dude. Pics of you and your bro at some gay bar? Twitter's blowing up. Coach knows. My blood iced. Who? Mia? Ricky? The kiss we'd shared impulsively at a dive near Lena's. Innocent, celebratory, snapped by some asshole phone. I floored it, storm brewing inside matching the one outside. Trust shattered. Who else knew? And how deep did this cut? The gallery was dark when I arrived. Back entrance ajar like an invitation to chaos. Rain lashed the alley, puddles reflecting neon from the Thai joint across the way. I burst in, dripping, finding Lena locking up the till. Where's Justin? Studio. What's the fire? Her brow furrowed at my face. Tell you later. I bolted up the stairs, 2 at a time, the metallic tang of fear sharp on my tongue. He was packing, duffel half-zipped, canvases stacked like shields. His back to me, shoulders hunched, but he froze at my footsteps. Saw the tweets, he said without turning, voice flat. Go viral, huh? I crossed to him, grabbing his arm, gentle, but he flinched. It's bullshit. We go public on our terms. Not some leak. He spun, eyes red-rimmed, phone clutched like a grenade. Look at this. Shoved it under my nose. Screenshots, grainy but damning. Us at the bar, my arm around his waist, lips brushing in that stolen moment. Comments scrolled like venom. Freak show. Hayes gone rogue. Pray for his soul. Hashtags. Elmwood scandal, Stepbro sickos. Nausea rolled. Who took it? Doesn't matter. It's out. He sank onto the futon, head in hands. I told you. Elmwood eats its young. I knelt before him, prying the phone away, tossing it aside. Fuck Elmwood. Fuck them all. This changes nothing. Everything. His laugh was hollow. Coach benched you? Dad disowning? Your scholarship. Screw the scholarship. Lies. It was my ticket out, but him? Worth more. I pulled him close, rain-soaked hoodie chilling his skin. We fight. Together. He searched my eyes, hope flickering. How? Start with this. I kissed him, fierce, claiming. Tongues battling doubts, hands anchoring. He yielded, pulling me down, the duffel forgotten. Lovemaking this time was desperate. Clothes shed in a frenzy, bodies slamming together like we could merge and become unbreakable. His nails raked my back, moans swallowed in my shoulder. I buried deep, whispering mine against his throat. Release came shattering, leaving us boneless, sweat-slick. The storm outside a counterpoint to our calm. Lena banged up later, bearing coffee and cornbread from the diner. Twitter's a cesspool, but the art world's buzzing. Couple collectors asking about Justin's series. Fractured blood sells scandal. We huddled around her laptop, scrolling emails. Offers. A residency in Brooklyn. A feature in Windy City Queer. Justin's eyes widened. Me? Featured. You're gold, kid. Lena grinned. Turn poison to paint. But back in Elmwood Tuesday, poison festered. Coach pulled me aside pre-practice, clipboard like a shield. Hayes. Rumors. True. I met his gaze steady. Yeah. Dating my stepbrother. Silence, then a nod. Fields about focus. Yours is shot. Sit this one. Benched. World tilted. Till you prove otherwise. Dismissal. Team locker room was a minefield. Stairs. Whispers dying as I entered. Jake avoided my eyes. Ricky smirked. Welcome to the rainbow side. QB. I stripped, taped ankle throbbing, and hit the showers alone. Water scalded, washing away nothing. Post-practice, Dad waited in the lot, truck idling. Get in. No. Connor Michael Hayes now. Inside, heater blasting, he gripped the wheel white-knuckled. Saw the pics. Your mother's crying. Guilt stabbed. Then tell her it's real. It's wrong. Veins popped. Bible says. Fuck the Bible. Heat rose. You cheated on Mom with that secretary. Hypocrite much. Low blow, his face crumpled. I was weak. It's deliberate. It's love. Simple, shattering. He drove in silence, dropping me at home. Mom enveloped me at the door, hug fierce. Proud of you, baby, for being brave. Dad stormed past, door slamming. Upstairs, I packed a bag, essentials, laptop, cleats. Text to Justin. On my way. For real. Chicago again, but this time permanence hummed. Lena cleared the loft's spare corner for me. We crashed on the futon, limbs tangled, plotting like fugitives. Days blurred into rhythm. Mornings, Justin at the gallery, me job hunting, barista gigs, freelance coaching. Afternoons, us. Walks along the lakefront, wind whipping scarves, hands linked defiantly. Evenings, art and football tapes, his head on my lap as I quizzed plays. Romance deepened, roots seeking soil. First real date. Improv show in Andersonville, laughing until tears. Then dim Italian spot where we shared tiramisu, forks clinking like toasts. Home, slow love. Candles flickering, bodies worshipped. Me tracing his bruises faded to memories. Him kissing scars from tackles past. Beautiful, he'd murmur, and I'd believe it. But conflict shadowed. Thanksgiving loomed. Mom called, voice thick. Come home. All of you. We'll talk. Justin balked. Trap? Family. I squeezed his hand. Ours now. Elmwood arrival was armored. Me driving rental, Justin shotgun. Playlist of the Killers. Mr. Brightside ironic anthem. House looked smaller, trees bare as bones. Mom hugged us breathless. Dad loomed in the doorway, arms crossed but stepped aside. Dinner was minefield. Turkey dry, tension thick. Small talk skated, scouts deferring my app. Justin's exhibit sellout. Then Dad. This. Arrangement. Living in sin up there. Justin stiffened. I jumped. It's not sin. It's us. Mom intervened. Love's love, Mike. Remember ours. He deflated, fork clattering. I just want you safe. Safe's boring. Justin's voice steady, first time. And we're tougher than you think. Post-meal, backyard fire pit. Sparks dancing like fireflies. Dad pulled me aside, beer in hand. He's good for you. Makes you softer. Better. High praise. Yeah, he does. Inside, later, Justin and I claimed the basement. Sleeping bags zipped together. Whispers in dark. Proud of you. Kisses soft, sealing peace. But betrayal's echo lingered. December brought the leak source. Mia, drunk text confession after I blocked her. Jealous. Wanted you back. Vindictive bitch. Forgiveness? Nah, but closure. We sued for defamation. Lena's lawyer buddy pro bono. Turning scandal to statement. Exhibit opening. Fractured blood pact. Reviews raving. Raw queer Americana. Me in a borrowed suit, arm around Justin, cameras flashing. Dad even showed. Awkward in the corner. But there. Winter deepened. Snow blanketing the city like absolution. Christmas. Tree in the loft. Lights twinkling on ornaments we'd crafted. Paper footballs and paint-smeared stars. Gifts exchanged. Him. A custom jersey with artist QB. Stitched. Me. Leather sketchbook embossed. For my muse. New Year's on the roof. Champagne stolen from the gallery. Countdown to midnight. Fireworks burst over the lake. We kissed under them. Cold noses bumping. Promises unspoken. Spring thaw mirrored ours. I reapplied to colleges, Northwestern, with a spot for personal growth narratives. Justin's residency accepted. 6 months in Brooklyn, but together. Elmwood faded to memory, wounds scarring strong. Yet climax brewed subtle. April, Dad's heart scare, mild attack, hospital sterile white. We raced down I-94, hands clasped over console. Waiting room vigil. Mom pacing, us shoulder to shoulder. When he woke, groggy eyes met mine. Sorry, son. For everything. Forgiven. Simple. Discharge day, he pulled Justin aside. Take care of him. He's a hothead. Always. Justin's grin genuine. Homeward. Sun low, we drove windows down, wind singing. Betrayal's sting dulled. Love's depth proved. Summer bloomed. Road trip to the dunes, full circle. Sand hot underfoot, lake lapping gentle. We swam, bodies buoyant, then collapsed on towels, sun-kissed and sated. This, I said, head on his chest, is everything. He carded fingers through my damp hair. And more. Brooklyn hit like a fever the day we arrived. July heat wave turning the air to soup, brownstones sweating under relentless sun. Justin's residency was in a Bushwick warehouse collective. Graffiti-splashed walls, shared kills, artists from LA to Lagos crashing on crash pads. Our apartment was a third-floor walk-up, one room with a hot plate and fire escape overlooking rail yards. But it was ours. Boxes unpacked in a frenzy. His easels first, my cleats dangling from a hook, mixtapes stacked like talismans. Home, he declared. Flopping onto the mattress, we dragged up 4 flights, sweat beating his temple. I tackled him, laughter echoing off exposed brick. Our empire. Kissed him lazy, summer stale, hands roaming familiar paths. Lovemaking in daylight. Curtains billowing, bodies gilded, slow and deep like the humidity pressing in. After, tangled and dozing, train whistles harmonized with his snores. Symphony of new beginnings. Northwestern orientation loomed in Evanston, a ferry ride away over the choppy lake, but I deferred a semester. Barista shifts at a hipster spot in Williamsburg paid enough. Plus pickup games in McCarran Park kept me sharp. Justin dove into the residency. Critiques till midnight, collaborations with a sculptor named Ravi who taught him welding, torch sparks flying like stars. Evenings, we'd meet at Roberta's for pizza. Blistered crust, wild fermented brews. Dissecting his days, my awkward latte art fails. Romance wove through the grind. Stoop sits with cheap wine, stargazing blocked by skyline glow. Ferry rides at dusk, wind tangling curls, fingers laced against the rail. One night, Coney Island boardwalk, neon carnival lights, salt air thick. He won me a stuffed bear at the ring toss, ridiculous and cherished. Ferris will crest. City sprawl below, his head on my shoulder. Forever, he murmured. Damn right. Seal with salt lip kiss, world spinning sweet. But conflict simmered. Insidious. Elmwood ghosts resurfaced. Jake's texts. Miss you on the field, man. Still batting for the other team. Half joke, half dig. Dad's calls sporadic, laced with gruff concern. Don't forget where you come from. Mom's packages arrived weekly. Cookies, clippings of local games. But undertone worried. Be safe, loves. City's rough. Then betrayal's fresh wound. August, gallery back in Chicago emailed Justin. Anonymous tip. Photos from the residency party last week. Us, dancing close in the throng, but cropped to imply more. Whispers of nepotism since Lena's connection. His face when he showed me. Pale, furious. Someone's stalking us. Again. I scrolled the thread, forums, art snobs sniping. Pretty boy rides brother's coattails. Mia's shadow? Or new enemy, jealous peer? We traced it to a rival artist, Theo, who'd cornered Justin at the opening, eyes hungry. He asked about you, Justin admitted, voice small. Like, pointedly. Jealousy flared, irrational. What did you say? Nothing. But it felt off. We confronted Theo at the next collective mixer. Loft pulsing with bass, body slick. I loomed, arm around Justin's waist. Back off. Theo smirked, drink sloshing. Protective much? Cute. Push came to shove, literally. My fist connected with his jaw, crack echoing. Chaos. Shouts. Ravi pulling me off. Justin wide-eyed. Cops called, statements taken. Assault. Theo spat. Ice on his lip. We bailed on bond, Lena wiring funds, but fallout crashed. Residency board reviewed. Probation for Justin. Distraction cited. My job? Fired for no call. Boss citing drama. Rent loomed, specter black. Nights turned jagged. Arguments in the humid dark, words like knives. You escalated. Justin accused, pacing the hot plate's glow. He threatened you. Counter voice cracking. Silence after heavy. Makeup sex raw. Anger fueled. Bruising grips. Tears mixing sweat. But dawn brought regret. Apologies whispered over cold cereal. Climax built through September's scorch. Theo pressed charges, misdemeanor, but court date in Manhattan loomed. Lawyer fees bleeding savings. Justin's work suffered. Canvases abandoned, brushes dry. What's the point? He'd mutter, staring at blank walls. I pushed. Pickup games turned tryouts for semi-pro league in Jersey. Scouts sniffing. For us, I'd say lacing cleats. But doubt gnawed. Was I dragging him down? October break. Mom insisted visit. Train to Chicago, then drive. Leaves aflame along 90/94. Home felt alien. Dad slimmer, smile tentative. Mom's hugs fiercer. Dinner thawed ice. Stories swapped, laughter tentative. Dad pulled me to the garage later, tools clinking. Punched a guy, huh? Like father, like son. Regret it. Partial truth. He clapped my shoulder. Rare. Protect what's yours. Just smarter. Insight landed soft. Back in Brooklyn, resolve hardened. We lawyered up. Pro bono queer legal aid and countersued Theo for harassment. Evidence mounting. His creepy DMs unearthed. Court day. Fluorescent hell. Suits starched. Judge dismissed assault. Self-defense. Mutual. And Theo's suit crumbled under scrutiny. Victory tasted like street falafel. Devoured on the steps. Justin's head on my knee. We won. You won. Kiss amid pigeon coos. Residency reinstated. My job? New gig at a sports bar in the village, tips fat from game nights. Art flowed again. Justin's series evolved. Urban fractures. City scars mirroring ours. Opening night. Warehouse packed. Critics murmuring approval. Me in corner, beer in hand, watching him glow under spots. Proud. Aching. November chill chased summer's ghost. Thanksgiving in Elmwood. Full table. Jake even showed. Awkward bro hug. Water under the bridge. Dad carved turkey. Toasting to family, blood or chosen. Eyes met Justin's across the chaos. Love, unbroken. Winter gripped. Snow dusting fire escapes. Breaths clouding on walks to the G train. Holidays. Tree in our shoebox space. Ornaments multiplied. Now a Brooklyn keychain. A court victory charm. Gifts him. Custom cleats painted with abstract waves. Me. Tattoo session together. Matching infinity loops on ribs. Inked in silence. Pain shared. New year. Rooftop again, but Bushwicks. Freight trains rumbling below. Skyline jagged. Countdown. 3, 2. Kiss at 0. Fireworks from afar. His I love you warm against lips. Spring 2026 bloomed defiant. Northwestern accepted. Full ride. Football walk-on. Justin's exhibit toured Chicago, then LA. We balanced. Me commuting Evanston, him studio hopping. Conflict? Lingered in smalls. Jealous glances at bar patrons. Residency flirtations rebuffed. But communication carved deeper. Therapy sessions via app. Us first mantra. One night, post-win game, Evanston crushed U of C. I came home to candles, his painting easel draped. Dinner. Takeout gourmet. Wine decanted. 6 months, he said, raising glass. To us. To forever. Clink. Dessert led to bed. Slow, worshipful. Candles guttering, shadows dancing. Bodies known by heart, pleasure building like crescendo. After curled, he traced my ink. Marry me. Breath caught. Yeah. Hell yeah. Tears. Laughter. Plans sketched on napkins. Simple. City Hall. Rings from a jeweler in the Diamond District. Summer solstice. Ceremony small. Rooftop at dusk. Witnesses. Lena. Ravi. Mom and Dad beaming from folding chairs. Vows raw. In fractures we found whole. Rings exchanged. Simple bands etched with waves. Kiss sealed. Cheers rising with the moon. Honeymoon. Week in the dunes. Full circle, sandcastles built. Lake swims naked under stars. Love-making on blankets, waves lapping like applause. Back to Brooklyn, life layered richer. Betrayals? Scars, stories. Conflicts? Forged stronger. Romance? Evergreen. Years folded like well-worn pages. Brooklyn's grit softening to familiarity. By 2028, our walk-up traded for a brownstone in Bed-Stuy. 2 bedrooms. One for the studio I built him, walls splattered eternal. I walked on at Northwestern, redshirting freshman year, then starting QB by junior. Throwing spirals under Friday lights, Justin in the stands, scarf against chill, sketching crowds. Scouts whispered pro. I whispered back, maybe, prioritizing us. Justin's art ascended. Solo show at MoMA PS1. Bloodlines reclaimed. Stepbrother portraits, abstract and intimate. Selling to collectors who saw souls in strokes. We traveled. His exhibits in Berlin, my bowl games in Pasadena. Hotels became lairs, Eiffel Tower views for quickies against glass, Rose Bowl afterglow tangled in sheets. But humanistic core grounded. Visits to Elmwood quarterly. Dad's health monitored. Mom's garden we tended. Jake married a teacher. We stood best men. Toasts laced with old jokes. Sarah? Apology letter arrived once, unread, burned in our fireplace. Conflict evolved, mature. 2029. Pro offer from Bears, hometown dream, but Chicago meant distance from his rising LA scene. Arguments reignited. Go, he urged, eyes shadowed. Your shot. Ours. Compromise. I signed 2-year, commuted weekends via red-eye, laptop for virtual dates. Strain showed, Missed anniversaries. Texts curt. Climax crested one blizzard night. Him in L.A., me post-practice Chicago, call dissolving to shouts. You're choosing football over us. Tears crackled the line. You're choosing fame. Counter unfair. Silence, then. I need you here. Flight booked dawn. O'Hare to LAX, turbulence mirroring gut. Landed. Cab to his hotel. Chateau Marmont. Palms mocking the snow back home. Door opened. He stood, disheveled, canvas half done behind. Connor. Hugged him crushing, apologies tumbling. Can't do distance. Not again. We talked till sunrise. Therapy in person now. Boundaries redrawn. I retired early, endorsements padded bank, coaching gig at a youth camp. He scaled back. Studio in Chicago burbs, near family. Betrayal's last echo. 2030. Ex-Theo resurfaced. Art auction in Soho. Inspired by our story, plagiarized swirls. Lawsuit swift. Settlement generous. Karma. Justin quipped. Framing the check as wallpaper. Romance matured. Lazy Sundays. Brunches at our stoop cafe. Anniversaries. Dune's ritual, Santos, vows renewed whispers. Sex. Evolved. Tantric explorations. Toys from a curious phase. Always anchored in eyes-locked trust. Humanistic bloom. Community. We mentored queer youth art/football camp in Elmwood. Kids like us. Fractured homes. One boy, Alex, 16, step-sib tension mirroring ours. Justin sketch sessions, my drills, built his bridge. You saved me, he wrote years later. Echo of our salvation. 2032. Adoption whispers. Foster kid. Mateo 8, brown eyes wary. Scars from system churn. Home visits, then forever. His laughter-filled rooms. Finger paints on fridge. Tiny cleats by the door. Dads, he lisped first time, hugging legs. Tears then, us crumbling. Parenting's drama. School bullies, midnight fevers, first crush confessions. Like you and Papa? He'd ask, piecing puzzles. Exactly. We'd chorus, bedtime stories laced with our tale. Sanitized, seeds of truth. Aging crept gentle. My knee scoped post-pro, his hands arthritic from brushes, but walks slowed to savor. Prospect Park paths, hand in hand, leaves crunching. Dad passed 2035. Quiet, bedbound, us at side, his love you boys final grace. Mom moved in, grandma tales for Mateo. Climax revisited. 2040, Justin's diagnosis. Early Parkinson's, tremor in his grip. Studio adapted. Voice-activated palettes. My hands steadying his. Can't paint. He despaired one rain-lashed night, brushes clattering. You create still. I held him, rain pattering like old Elmwood storms. In me. In us. Exhibit farewell. Legacy lines. Unfinished works completed by protégés. His vision enduring. Opening. Teary toasts. Mateo beaming in ill-fitting suit. Papa's a star, he whispered. Our end? Humanistic arc 2050. Gray hairs threading, wrinkles mapping laughs. Vows beachside, dunes eternal. In every fracture, whole. Love, deep as lake, steady as tides. Justin first, peaceful, sleep-slipped, hand in mine. I followed months later, field dream fading, his face last light. Mateo, grown artist-athlete, eulogized. They taught breaking builds bridges. Legacy, not perfection, but persistence. From locker room shatter to lifetime mosaic, love's drama. Emotional forge, romantic fire, humanistic hearth. Changed everything? Understatement. It remade worlds.